What's up, future millionaires? I'm Mike the Investor, and in today's video, we're going to talk about the Nervos Network, what is it, as well as the native token, which is CKB. And at the end of everything we cover in today's video, we're going to answer the famous question, is CKB a buy? Now, there are timestamps in the description below if you are looking for a specific section in this video. Now, before we dive into today's content, I want to take a brief second to talk to you about the partner of today's video, which is Crypto.com, one of the fastest growing crypto apps in the space today. We can buy and sell over 200 cryptocurrencies, and not only that, we can also earn passive income just by staking our cryptocurrencies on the crypto app. You can also stake stable coins as well. Now, one of the coolest things about Crypto.com is their metal Visa debit cards. You can earn anywhere from 1% up to 8% back based off of how much CRO that you stake. And besides the CRO back that you get in rewards, here are the other benefits as well that come with these cards based off of which one that you choose. So if you haven't used Crypto.com yet and you want to check it out, you can get $25 free when using my link in the description below, and the promo code is Mike. Now let's go ahead and dive into the first section of this video, which is the price chart of CKB right after this. Alright, crypto investors, welcome back to the channel. Now, according to CoinGecko, the cryptocurrency market is down a little bit at 1.6%. Cryptocurrency market a little over 2.3 trillion, 24-hour volume 102 billion. Now, as we look at Nervos Network, it is currently ranked 159 according to CoinGecko, and we can see the current price, it is right under 2 cents at 0.019. Now, as we look at the market cap, 578 million, and for the circulating supply a little over 29 billion, and if I am correct, it has about 34 billion for the max supply. And if we go briefly over to coin raking here, this is another spot that you can use to kind of check out things, and this is verified as well. You can see about 34.83 billion is the total supply for CKB. All right, and so if we move back to CoinGecko, just move down a little bit, we can see the all-time high was back in May, which was almost 4.5 cents, May 31st, according to CoinGecko. If we move down here, you can see on the year, it's up over 300%, and you can see everything past that from the 30-day on down, it's been a little bit red, which is explainable because the market had that steep pull back. Now, if we go to the 1 year here, anyone that purchased around this price here right at the beginning of the year, anywhere from January, this baby was pretty much under a half of a tenth of a penny at 0.004. So even still, you're sitting on some really nice gains, even though we've consolidated at this 1 cents here, and then we moved up to 2 cents. We got a lot of support around 2, and right under that 2 cents, and then we got a lot of support around that 1/8, give or take, which is still right under that 2 cents. And so depending on what the market does, well, depending on what Bitcoin does, will truly tell us what the market will do in the future, because everything is still subject, to Bitcoin, because it still controls most of the market. It's still the largest asset. And so a lot of things is depending on what Bitcoin does, and then also what different news does to the market as well. And so now let's kind of dive into what is the Nervos Network. Well, in simplest terms, before we kind of look at literature and get technical, the Nervos Network is a layer 1 proof of work project where it's pride itself on interoperability, being a universal blockchain. So what does that mean, right? I just said a mouthful. Well, universal interoperability public blockchain pretty much is going to use the layer 1 to be the foundation for all other blockchains, and then layer 2 blockchains will be able to use the layer 2 functions of the Nervos Network to be able to cross-chain different assets however they plan to use it, whether that's for transactions, whether that's for rewards, whether that's for staking, renting space. The CKB token can use pretty much all assets of utility on the Nervos Network. And so this is why CKB is so powerful, because it can be used for everything inside of the ecosystem of the Nervos Network. And so one more time, in simplest terms, pretty much the Nervos Network is a universal blockchain that prides itself on connecting other blockchains by using its technology. So pretty much it's solving the problem of interoperability that most blockchains have today. So it wants to be that one-stop shop for all blockchains. So let's go ahead and dive into the website briefly and just look at a little literature on what is the Nervos Network. So the Nervos Network is a universal passport to the blockchain. Put simply, we are an open source project, collection of protocols, and public blockchain ecosystem intent on solving your biggest blockchain gripes. And so the common knowledge base layer, which is where they get CKB from, is a layer 1 proof of work and store of value blockchain, but layer 2 scaling and smart contract capabilities. And so with that being said, the melding of two blockchain traits speaks to our core goal to be a universal passport to the blockchain. And so let's actually get a little bit more technical on how the universal passport to blockchain actually works. Now, I'm not going to read all of this, but I'm going to read the key parts that I feel is pretty important. And so we have the force bridge, the PW core, and we have Polyjuice, which is the second layer here, which is for the interoperability components. And as you can see, layer 1 is where the foundation proof of work Nervos Network resides. And so let's go ahead and kind of break this down. So the three important components of the universal passport solve the high barriers to entry cross-chain circulation of assets, and the premise that DApps do not need to change their code to be truly interoperable. And let me pause right there. That is massive. And so what this means is if you have a DApp that's running on Solana, that's running on Ethereum, or running on another blockchain, it doesn't have to be recoded to be able to operate on Nervos Network. That is huge. Think about that big problem it's solving. And let's keep going real quick. These components are based on the top flexible underlying public blockchain, the Nervos CKB. Through the power of underlying blockchain, the chain of Nervos CKB with layer 2 components, our applications, users, and assets have access to a blockchain ecosystem that is likened to the internet as we know it today. And so right there, it has a full interoperability goal to be that cross-chain for all assets for whatever it plans to be used for, whether it's renting space out, whether it's earning passive income, paying out rewards, rather it's for transactions, rather it's for DApps, rather it's for putting utility behind an NFT. All of these things are coming into the Nervos Network. And now let's briefly dive into what is the CKB, also known as CKB Byte. Let's briefly touch on it. And so according to Nervos Network, they say the CKB token is a pioneer in cryptocurrency utility, and this is because it has the store of value aspect of proof of work, and it also has the capabilities of Ethereum plus more. And so let's check this out. CKB is a cryptocurrency that can be used as a secure store of value like Bitcoin. It can also be a value token behind smart contracts like Ethereum. Store, execute, and even rent space on the Nervos blockchain with CKB bytes. And so in a nutshell, that is what the CKB token is. It is the native token of the entire Nervos Network ecosystem, where it will be used for everything inside of the Nervos Network. As you saw, whether it's for storing, executing, renting, whatever it is, CKB will be used for that utility, which is why it has so much value for the Nervos Network ecosystem. Which now brings us into some key developments that's happened so far for the Nervos ecosystem. Now, one of the biggest things is the force bridge, which is pretty much a cross chain that allow assets to be interchanged by being pegged by CKB or Cardano. That is huge, and this is built on the Nervos blockchain. Number 2, we have the full compatibility with Ethereum. That is massive as well. And then when you look at some of the things that's happened for Nervos, even though their main focus is being the universal blockchain, they have tapped into DeFi with Yokiaswap, and then they tapped into the NFT market with Kollect. And let's go ahead and look at these briefly. And so here's the Kollect NFT marketplace built on the Nervos Network. And if you want the URL is literally as you see it, kollect.me, and I also have my NFT gallery link in the description as well if you just want to check that out. But here are some of the NFTs that are on Kollect so far. As you can see, these are purchased with CKB. You can see here's the amount of some of these, which is really cool. And just to show you kind of my gallery here briefly, since we're on Kollect here, as you can see, Mike the Investor, I'm actually very transparent on here. I don't have a alter ego name that I'm using, but here are some of the ones that I personally created as well myself. Nervous Apes, and then we got CKB Orbs, and then these are some of the ones that I purchased that I do not have for sale. And so you got some Nervos celebrities, you got basketball, you got the paint punks, which are super popular as well. And so these are just some of the ones that I purchased, right? And so these are some of the most popular NFTs across the whole marketplace. Pretty much, yes, you got your Bored Apes and things like that, but the punks are also very popular. And so you can see these are purchased with CKB, allowing that full utility for the CKB token. Now you can use credit cards, but pretty much most of these, most people pay with CKB. And so if we briefly go over to the DeFi exchange that briefly opened up called Yokiaswap, you can see a next evolution DeFi exchange on the Nervos Network. Now, none of this is financial advice. I'm just briefly showing you what the DeFi exchange looks like. You can see they have a pair with the Yoki and CKB. So if we hit earn, here's the farms here where you have to take 2 tokens. So you have USDC and CKB, which actually is a very great pool. And then you have Yoki, and then you have CKB here, which is your farms where you add LP tokens. When you basically add liquidity, you take those LP tokens and then you provide it here. Now, if you want just your normal staking, you have here where you have auto yoke and you have manual Yoki, because this DeFi exchange literally just launched not too long ago. And here are the current rates. You got the auto over 2,000, and you got the normal manual at 325%. And so that's pretty impressive so far. Of course, the more people that stake, the rates will start to go down. And so in simplest terms, those are the main key developments for the Nervos Network. We got the Force Bridge, with ADA, the compatibility with Ethereum. We have their NFT Kollect.me marketplace, which has gotten a lot of good reviews from the communities. And then also we have their DeFi exchange that's have gotten a lot of good respect as well from the communities, which is a plus. So after everything that we covered, let's dive into the last section of this video, which is CKB a buy? Well, quick disclaimer, I do own CKB myself. I have owned it here for a couple months now. I just haven't made a video on it, but if you are in the Patreon, then you already aware of this. We are in this play together. And for me, CKB is more of a long-term hold in my opinion. Now, I do have some other outlooks on CKB. Check out the Patreon for that. But in my opinion, I do think CKB is a legitimate, strong, long-term hold. When we look at what it's going after, its full goal is interoperability, is what its goal is, even though it's tapped into NFTs and DeFi, which I think only adds value to the entire project. When we look at what they're truly going after, allowing different assets and different dApps not having to be recoded to be operated on the Nervos Network by using that full interoperability for cross-chain assets, I think that is huge, as well as with having the fees extremely low. These are big problems, right? So when you look at scaling and looking at problems for the blockchain, we are still at early stages, right? When you think about scaling, most of the time when a blockchain is able to scale, they sacrifice some form of security, right? And then when you look at blockchains that have a ton of security, which are pretty much your proof of work, layer 1 blockchains, they can't scale as fast as a layer 2, but they have more security. And that's kind of the give and take between layer 1 and layer 2, whereas Nervos Network is conquering layer 1 and layer 2 with that full interoperability. And so in my opinion, I think Nervos Network is a strong buy in my personal opinion. So if you gain some value from this video, most importantly, you know what to do. Smash that like button. It definitely helps the channel out, and it also lets me know you all appreciate the content as well. But that is all I got for you. Remember to stay inspired, stay motivated, always invest in yourself, and I'm out.